we can talk about. Yeah, RJ is out for Easter. I was talking to Lorcan. I gotta talk to Lorcan a little bit more because I don't know if he's been like demotivated. I don't think he's been playing trials at all, and maybe that's like
Yeah, I don't
affecting.
even think he's played the DLC.
Like I don't know if that's affecting like him just not wanting to come on to the podcast, but I definitely need to talk to him like one on one a little bit because I think that Lorcan has provided some of the best like insight and some really good topics that like I hadn't written down at all to like help lead a lot of the conversations throughout many, at least, half of the podcasts that we've done so far. He is able to provide some valuable information, so I really hope that I can somehow inspire him to come back on, but it's been, I think, 3 episodes, or maybe even 4 in a row now, that he hasn't been able to get on, which is unfortunate. Wouldn't mind a cheeky debate on the paid tracks. Yeah, that was one of the main topics, for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
I really wanted Slick on here for it. This was, something that it was crazy because, like, we talked about it in the stream, and I hadn't even told you guys that Slick was going to be on the podcast. I was talking to him literally the last podcast. I was talking to Caveman Dave and Slick, and then Slick kind of chimed in at the last minute, but I already had Dave pretty much on here. Podcast every Sunday. Marty, I would like to do that. I just don't. I don't know, man, because it's really hard to generate enough topics, like, unless a lot of people help out, like, in the comment section and throughout the streams, like, weekly. It seems really hard. Like, Cab, what do you think about having it, like, each week? Do you think that we'd be able to maybe shorten it down? Like, I even talked to RJ about it.
I think if we've got the guests, then, because the questions aren't too bad once you know who the guest is.
Yeah.
You sort of like.
We can have a little more personalized questions, like, each week instead,
yeah.
for each person. That'd probably make it a little bit easier if it was a weekly thing. Hey, there's Dave. What's up, Zircron? You message him? Okay, good. Yeah, everybody spam Slick. We gotta get him on here. Quick. Yeah. And, yeah, we had to take a weekend off because RJ wasn't joining us for one session, and it was only going to be, like, 3 of us again, and I really wanted RJ to be around for one of them, but he said it's cool that we do this one without him. Spam Slick. No, not in this chat. Just spam Slick on Discord. If you got him, add it on Facebook or Tinder or Grindr or whatever. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't really want to jump right into saying, or like getting people like paid for tracks. But the other topic was paying people to get medals for you. Whoops, sorry, I just bumped the mic. Whoopsies. That was something that we really wanted to talk about again. We had a really heated discussion. I think it was really good. In what was it, like a few streams ago. For anybody that doesn't know, I'll just I'll set you up, I'll prime you as to kind of what happened. So Dempsey, who is a pretty well-known speedrunner, I would say, he's like definitely in the top, I don't know, 20 maybe. So he ended up paying GT4. He admitted to this in Blaze's stream, if I remember correctly, that yes, he paid GT4 to basically go in and get diamond medals on a lot of the ninja tracks. And I don't know exactly which ones. I know for sure that Dempsey can't do black belts. He could probably pass maybe not pass blue belt, but like get pretty far in blue belt. Do green belt, but I don't think he could diamond that. Maybe orange belt he could diamond. But it was a really controversial topic that was brought to my attention that I was kind of upset about. It's just the whole like integrity of the situation. It just seems a little wacko to me. Cab, what do you think about people getting paid? I guess we're gonna jump in this topic just a little bit right now.
I'm not a fan of it. I mean, it is like Zekron said. It's against the terms of service. It's against the terms of service for the actual platform that you're doing it on as well. If you're on Xbox, which I think Dempsey is. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I think it just ruins the integrity of the whole like leaderboard system. You know, if you're not good enough to do ninjas, then you don't deserve the score on the Hall of Fame. It's that simple.
Yeah, I like it so that they added ninjas onto the global leaderboards. I think that's amazing because I feel like it's more of a test of your overall skill when you're able to do these ninjas as well as speedrunning. Like speedrunning ninjas is like the highest caliber that you could possibly obtain, like for getting into high scores on the leaderboards. Like I really appreciate that they added ninjas in and that they made it a core component of getting onto the leaderboards.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why someone like Dempsey thinks that it's okay to pay someone to do it, because he doesn't think that ninjas should be a part of the leaderboards.
Mm-hmm.
Even though speedrunning has its own section, he wants to be, front and center Hall of Fame guy. He doesn't want people to have to switch to see his name, and he's obviously not going to be good at ninjas. So,
Dude, but what is Dempsey getting out of this?
I mean, he basically never has to worry about the ninjas. He can just focus on speedrunning for Hall of Fame.
But like,
So,
is he getting like? Will he get paid if he's like in the top 10 or something like
no,
that?
it's
Like,
just an ego thing, probably.
I guess, man.
I
Gosh.
mean, it probably happens in loads of games, like loads of competitive games. Paying
Yeah, but
people to
this
do
is
stuff
this is
there.
trials. It seems like such a weird scenario for this to happen, don't you think?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's happened in the past, to be honest. On like previous games, certain people paying for scores.
What do you think about I don't know if this is jumping to too hard of a conclusion, but what do you think if GT4 and Dempsey both got reset?
I don't think GT4 really deserves to get reset. He hasn't, like, his score is his score. I
Yeah,
feel
but he's
like as a
assisting with
punishment.
somebody else to like
Yeah,
climb
that's
the
the thing. I
boards,
feel like
right?
as a punishment, like, technically his account should be banned. That's probably what happens when you break the rules, I guess, isn't it? So realistically, both of them,
Yeah.
yeah, should just get banned straight up.
If we're trying to be as fair as possible, like I wouldn't just straight up ban them, but I would have them
Yeah, bann's
reset,
probably harsh. I wouldn't like, if it
right?
was me personally, I wouldn't do anything to GT4 but I would definitely wipe Dempsey's score, like all of it,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing.
Yeah, because like if we end up like banning them, like we're gonna lose like two of like some of the best runners, and Dempsey streams pretty often, and I don't know what if GT4 streams that often. I think he's on Mixer. I think is what I heard is he's usually on Mixer, and he just likes to streams for his like close friends and stuff. But it would be really shitty if we lost such a good speedrunner as GT4 slash ninja player, like top ninja player. But yeah, man, it's a tough.
Yeah,
That's a very tough
that's the
call.
thing. Like, technically, they both broke the rules, so they should both be banned. Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to change that. Technically, GT4 didn't break any rules, because playing on someone else's account is only really a rule break if you're the person who owns the account, letting someone play on it.
Mm-hmm.
So GT4 technically, like, GT4 is not letting anyone play on his account. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's harder to prove
Oh,
that
did
it was
Blubby?
GT4.
Hold on. Sorry, 1 second. Blub hosted me? Holy cow. Thanks for the host, man. Just for anybody that arrived recently. Yeah, sorry, I don't have the notifications on. Thanks for the host, man. We are supposedly going to have Slick joining the podcast today. I've been trying to contact him all day. Not really sure what the deal is, so it might just be a little one-on-one session that I have with Cab. That could be the scenario here.
Hoo-hoo.
But
yeah, that's the thing, Matt. Though, but GD4 is in a position where sort of like hearsay whether or not he done it. Like you can't prove that he was the person playing on someone else's account unless he admits it. Dempsey can say it's him, but like you can't ban him unless you can prove that he was the one on it. Whereas Dempsey's account, you know that someone else was on that account. So his rule breaking is very easy to prove. Whereas you can't just say that it's GT4 and then just be like, yo, let's just ban his account as well without like actual proof. So I don't think anything would happen to GT4. I definitely think that Dempsey's score should be wiped just for the integrity of the leaderboards. Like, then again, I'm not sure how much Red Links care about the integrity of the leaderboards currently, since
there's still a ton of problems with it. Absolutely. Junior was saying that he doesn't follow GT4 at all. It's money, and that brings me to the next point of like, how much do you think he was paid for doing this? I thought initially it was like, I don't know, $100, maybe $200, like somewhere in that range. Maybe.
That sounds high.
Does that sound a little too high? Like, do that?
I mean, it depends how rich he is.
I have no idea what kind of income Dempsey has, honestly.
When you can afford to pay someone for a fucking like ego boost, I guess you probably do have money to burn. So maybe it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's against the rules for both of them, though. I think if
it's definitely against the rules for both of them, but one of them is a lot easier to prove than the other.
Like, maybe just wipe Nobby. I like what Nobby was saying, that wiping Dempsey's ninja score seems fair. I think that, I mean, it wouldn't really matter resetting GT4s. He's just gonna get it back right away. But maybe just the ninja scores.
I don't even think the ninja scores. I think if you're willing to pay someone to like that, you know that you're ruining the integrity of the game or the ranking system, and that to me deserves a wipe, complete wipe.
Yeah.
Like I mean, honestly,
it would have to teach him a lesson. Yeah, it has to teach him a good lesson for it. And it's the integrity part, of just being honest and like actually working your ass off, because it has taken me so long. Like, this frustrates me so much because I've worked my ass off trying to get goodies at the ninjas and like trying to get consistent on doing these obstacles, and then you have somebody show up, here's, I don't know, 50 pounds, here's 100 pounds, whatever. I don't know how much you paid him to get diamond medals. It's just infuriating to me.
Definitely not pounds. None of them are English.
Oh, yeah. Dempsey, I don't even know where Dempsey is in the States, but yeah, however many dollars given to GT4. I think GT4 would have done it for $20. Blub says, don't think they thought it was a big deal.
If you ignore the rule breaking and look at it from just a leaderboard integrity like perspective, I think GT4 doesn't need a wipe, and Dempsey definitely does. Because GT4 score is legit, no matter what. Like, regardless of whether you think he should be banned or not, it doesn't affect the integrity of the game. Although him as a person has affected the integrity of the game, so yeah, I guess.
Does this matter that much to you, Cab? Does this whole topic matter?
Not really. I mean, it depends. Not in the sense that I'm going to be affected personally by it, but I do believe that leaderboards are sort of like, they should be treated as an actual ranking system, and people who take the piss should definitely be removed from that system. So, I'm never going to be affected by it. I'm not like a top player. I'm not competing for like Hall of Fame. Dempsey hasn't overtaken me. He was already ahead of us. So
yeah, Govna said that GT4 admitted to boosting 3 people. Who else did he boost? He said he's sorry to Blaze and he won't do it anymore.
How do you think I got my black belt diamond?
Cab's in on this too, guys. Get him. Oh man, yeah.
That's the thing, Max. That's the reason that he done it, is because he probably thinks that they shouldn't, simply because it hasn't in previous games. Like, why shouldn't it? It's an aspect of the game that they have made official. Why shouldn't it be like contribute towards the overall leaderboard system? There is a specific leaderboard for speedrunning and ninjas and skill games. Like, I don't know. I feel like, why shouldn't it be there? It's part of the game. It's now an official part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Why shouldn't it be part of the ranking system?
Mm-hmm.
People like, just like when a new game comes out, people shouldn't expect to like not have to improve other aspects of the game just to keep what they used to have in a previous game, if that makes sense. Like, you aren't entitled to be the top of the leaderboard on the new game just because you were on the previous game. If you have to now become better at something else, then that's the way it is, you know?
They have a bigger, I guess, like a broader topic to relate to this. So for me, these like the moral principles behind just getting good at the game on your own and like being honest about your scores and whatnot, it's really important to me personally, because I am, constantly streaming. I'm trying to set a good example, and it still baffles me because Dempsey streams as well. And it's like, if a lot of the community knows that his score isn't legit because he got boosted on the ninjas, like, how is that going to help him? Like, that is not setting a very good, being a role model to like being streaming, right? I think it's crazy.
I just want to touch on what Matt said.
Yeah, go for it.
I think at the end of the day, like, the people who will care aren't the people who won't see the ninjas, like, if that makes sense. So, like, yeah, there are going to be lots of people who will never see the ninjas. They probably don't even know they exist, but they are also the people that don't care about the leaderboards, like, because they don't expect to be up there. So it's not really an argument, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always going to be worse people at a game who don't see all of the content. Like, that's not a reason to not include harder content.
Yeah. This leads me to kind of talk about the whole like unlocking progression thing of ninjas. And I talked a lot with Matt about this the other day. I think he convinced me pretty well that along with contracts, ninjas I think should all be at least viewable in the leaderboards.
Definitely viewable. Don't agree so much with unlock. And
not unlocking what the like all of the leaderboards for ninjas. even like black belt.
I think you should definitely be able to look at all of the leaderboards.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like games that lock leaderboards behind passing a level, and there's quite a few games that do it, and it's really annoying.
And it seems hidden too.
I'm not a fan of it.
It seems hidden, like they don't specifically tell you in like any of the tutorials, like after you beat an extreme track, or even after, like, I think when you unlock the extreme tracks, it should say something, oh, by the way, if you can gold medal all of these extreme tracks, you get to unlock white belts. You get to unlock more levels. The ninja category will finally unlock, and people will be like, wait, what? I didn't hear about these ever before in previous games. Is this new? Like, it's just one more step to get people more involved in the community and to show them that this game has so much more than what it leads on to be.
I feel like anyone who is in the position to unlock ninjas probably knows that they exist. I feel like that's sort of like what they expect, I guess. I feel like you don't necessarily need to advertise insanely hard pieces of the game to people who aren't necessarily ready for it. It could maybe be like demotivating, perhaps, if people are like struggling to pass extremes.
I think it's different for me personally. I like to see those really insane obstacles. Like, I didn't
Yeah,
even know what a
that's
Ninja
the
1
thing.
was when I first started playing them. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, I love just pushing myself and trying to beat these levels and like timing out on stuff. But that's me. That's just my mentality, how I've always kind of been. Like, I've been really competitive with sports and stuff for a long time. And I always like playing against other people that were better than me because it made me better.
Yeah,
That's the type of mentality that I like to bring in to playing ninja tracks at least.
that's the thing. I mean, I would like to see them on the map from the get go, so that people do know that they exist.
Yes.
You don't necessarily need to
Yes.
throw it in people's faces, like telling them, but if you just have it as an option for people who are like exploring the map, and then you maybe like when they enter, if they don't have all goals, then you could maybe have like a little pop up saying like, "Yo, you unlock this when you get all goals or whatever."
Hmm.
But you should definitely be able to look at all of the leaderboards and watch the replays.
Yeah.
If ninjas have replays nowadays, I
And,
think they don't
yeah, and
anymore.
another thing that Matt told me about. So Matt ADM in the chat, he was talking to me about how he's really into contracts, and I know that not everybody is like hardcore into all the contracts. I know I'm certainly not, but I think it would be more fair, like if you pass, say the first ninja level, if you pass white belt, I think you should be able to unlock pretty much all of the ninja contracts that are available. It seems unfair, especially if you like that extra challenge
Yeah,
um, to do. It's a lot more replayability as well. Like to have all these
yeah,
contracts, and if they're locked behind black belts and the other ninjas that you can't get to, then it's just shutting down that opportunity for a lot more replayability. It's unfortunate.
I'll use the argument that I used earlier when we talked about the same topic. I think if you're okay with having white belt as a prerequisite to unlock ninja contracts, then why is it not okay to have the other ninjas? Like, where do you draw the line to where something is too difficult to award extra content? I feel like different games just, the game itself sets the rules for how hard they want unlocks to be, and I think Trials has always been known for like being quite a difficult game. So
Hmm.
I don't have an issue with hard tracks unlocking new content. I
Yeah,
just feel like if if you do beat black belt and you unlock some contracts, I feel like it you should expect those contracts to be on par with the difficulty of the track that unlocked them at least. If they're like super easy contracts, and I can understand being annoyed if the requirement to unlock them is like far greater than what you actually get out of it. But yeah, I don't have an issue with hard unlocks at all.
yeah. I guess it could be the other aspect of it is that it's more motivational to
Mm.
get that good and get them unlocked. I totally get that too. There's always a couple sides, but
Yeah, I mean, you've got to draw the line somewhere.
yeah, but
I
no,
guess everyone just
I
has a
agree.
different idea of where the line should be.
I agree with the difficulty of the contracts. That would be really hard to test out, though. Like, if you're a blue belt caliber player, you're going to be doing these tracks that require like insane, like almost diamond times while doing wheelies and endos and stuff throughout it. Like, I don't know. What would the contracts look like is like it's a pretty tough decision of trying to base the difficulty of contracts because a lot of them differ a bit too.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get an idea of how, like, I don't know. I feel like, um, I feel like you can get an idea of how hard contracts are. Like, if you play the Cadillac one, I mean, it's probably impossible, but even if
Yeah.
it's not impossible, you know that it's like a damn hard contract. Like, it would be fair to say that something like that, assuming it's not impossible, could be unlocked from something like black belt. Like,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, that Cadillac contract that needs to be set in the the ninja category. That one is just
what type of contract is it? Is it a
it's the
KDM
the KLM, KDM, I forget.
or KLM? I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
Yeah. But what do you
Brings up
think?
a good. Sorry,
No,
carry
go
on.
for it. Go for it, Cab.
I was just gonna insult Red Links, to be honest, so I'll let you go.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off right there and kind of talk about the DLC just a little bit then, since we brought up the Cadillac contract. What's been your favorite? What was your favorite driving line / like decorated DLC track, do you think?
Whew. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't actually played them all properly. I played them like for the achievements,
Mm-hmm.
and then
You didn't go back and speedrun them at all yet?
nah, I didn't even bother getting like platinums or anything on everything.
Did you play the Mountaineer one yet?
Is that which is the one that has the squirrel where you've got to like do like 4 swings or whatever?
That might be it, because that one has the zip lines on it. I think that's probably one of my
that
favorite
track
ones.
is really nice.
That's a really well
Like,
decorated.
graphically, that track is really nice.
And I got the diamond on it.
And
I think
driving line as well.
I think that's one of the easier diamonds, but I'm proud that I got the diamond on that. At least that's a really fun track. I was surprised to see no ninja level, personally.
I wasn't surprised, but I was slightly disappointed.
Yeah. Do you think that they're gonna add one in for the Crash and Sunburn DLC?
I think the Crash and Sunburn DLC is bigger, is it?
It's gonna be like
Or am I-
encompassing pretty much the entire southern hemisphere of it. It's gonna be South America.
Bigger in terms of track amount, though? Or is it the same?
I don't know. How many did we get for this one? Like 20 something?
I guess it's probably the same because I'm sure they advertised like 55 tracks. Or something
Yeah,
with
because
the
it was like
pass.
it was like mid-20s, so it'll probably be another mid-20s, maybe almost
Yeah.
30 tracks for this next one. But yeah, it's gonna be encompassing South America, Africa, Australia.
I'm gonna
maybe
say
some
no
other spots.
to a ninja track.
You're gonna say no?
Yeah. Although that being said, the
Hmm.
extremes in the DLC are a lot harder than the base game extremes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with the exception of Inferno, which is already probably considered like a level 1 anyway. Like the two extremes, I think, were definitely encroaching on ninja level. I think maybe someone disagrees.
I
but
want to
definitely
see.
think-
Do you think that they're gonna have ninja versions of the base career or the base extreme tracks eventually?
no,
they're gonna do that?
probably not. Maybe like one-off tracks, but I don't think they'd go through and remake all of the extremes as ninjas.
Okay.
That was just like a fusion thing, I guess. They've sort of moved away from that and made it more official,
Mm-hmm.
or made ninjas more official.
Hey, what's up, Alex? Welcome to the podcast, man. Kat brought up a little topic here. What location and theme do you want for the DLC? What spots on the southern hemisphere think you'd want, Cab?
Oh, for the next DLC.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to a lot of like jungle themes.
Or
don't
Kat,
know.
are you saying like for another DLC besides the Crash and Burn, like even further down the road? I don't know if he means for the next one, but I'd like to see something in Chile. Like I'd like to see some Patagonia. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Really stunning environments like that. What were you saying? Some jungle areas too would be a really good one.
Jungle areas, I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Good jungle track.
However,
Brazil, yeah.
if there's a lot of foliage, it might not run on like the original Xbox and PlayStation, man. That might be a problem with it.
That's one thing that I do hope that they address soon is performance.
Mm-hmm.
It seems a lot worse than Fusion, which is like it's hard to understand why, but it definitely does seem that way.
It's been good
and it's
on
kind
PC
of annoying.
for me, but I had to switch over. Yeah, I just had to switch over. Yeah, I was on the original Xbox, and it was just
same.
Even the career stuff, it was unplayable.
Bushes in the track is fuck. That's so true, Zach. That's
a Machu Picchu
funny.
Track.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Brazil, yeah, that'd be a good spot. You want the moon? Have a DLC on the moon? How about have a low gravity contract? Mess around with that kind of stuff.
Man, I'm not a fan of contracts, to be honest. I much preferred the track challenges on Fusion. I just feel like the level of like detail on like Easter eggs in the tracks and stuff was a lot higher on Fusion. Like they went to a lot more extremes. Like there was like one track in the DLC, you know, like the squirrel where you had to race the car. Like that was like the one track that had like an actual interesting sort of hidden feature
Yeah.
out of basically every track in the game, from what I can remember.
A lot more
Whereas
skill
Fusion
game
had quite a
oriented,
lot.
like contracts. Be kind of cool. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
contracts.
the
They could be
contracts in
better.
general, they could definitely add a lot more onto them. I put a couple of down here that some people will highly disagree with. I talked about this in the
Ooh.
stream before, but having a diamond metal contract for levels, I think would be awesome to like
I don't know. I feel
a little
like
extra
something like
motivation.
that is like not necessarily needed. I feel like the diamond medal itself, if you're chasing them,
But
is enough.
but the contracts are optional already at the
Yeah,
get-go.
I
Like
mean,
why not just have they could have
I just
so
feel
many
like
other
it's
ones.
not like it's not. I don't know. I couldn't see that one. I wouldn't be bothered if it happened, but like I don't know.
And then,
Couldn't see it.
the stupid challenges that I do constantly. I'm doing like the inverted controls. I'm doing the upside down camera. Like they could turn those were challenges back on Fusion as well, where the camera would be literally spinning around and make you sick, like while you're trying to beat radiation sickness or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not a fan of messing with orientation of the camera and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would get the old mirror out,
Mhm.
stop playing.
Anything else covering like DLC or content being locked? Is there any other things you want to talk about with it, Cab? I was gonna try to move
Sorry, say
on.
that again. What was that?
Did you want to talk about any more like DLC stuff or talking about content, like Ninja
Mm,
content being locked? Is there anything that you want to add to that?
nah, I'm good. Overall, DLC was pretty fun. Tracks look nice.
I really enjoyed this
Impossible
DLC.
Contract kind of proves that Red Links don't test their content. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just another red flag, definitely kind of popping up from that.
yeah.
But yeah,
If anyone wondered why there were so many bugs when the game released, I guess this contract kind of shines a light on why there is, and it's simply because they don't test shit. Maybe that's harsh. Who knows?
I think they
Maybe
should
it's
have
true.
community members. They should have the elite testing like this DLC stuff out
Mm,
as well. I don't know if they are,
nah, I think they should
honestly.
just do their job. To be honest, like, is that too much to ask? Do their job and not release garbage that they know is broken.
Stuff that's impossible possibly
Maybe
to
that's
beat.
too much to ask nowadays. Maybe, but I don't know. That's just my take on the whole situation.
Hmm. My overall thoughts of the DLC, I love the driving lines, except for the Cadillac one, and I wasn't really a big fan of the skill games. Did we even talk about the skill game at all with the robots? We were talking about that.
No, we
We were
didn't.
talking about
Yeah.
that before stream. So we were discussing that the robot skill game, and at first the initial reaction is, "Holy crap! This is a really cool idea! Like these physics-based, like moving giant robots, you got to get past in a certain amount of time." And then you realize about what is it,
Yeah,
5 robots in? It
you
repeats
realize
it.
that there's only 5
Yeah,
obstacles in like a 30-second track
and then
because they couldn't be bothered to make enough robots to last 30 seconds,
and when that
which is kind of a
realization
shame.
set in, my heart sank. I was like, "Oh, this is such a great opportunity to have like all these really insane physics-based stuff that you have to work on timing like to get. That would be actually pretty challenging." But I don't know. I kind of think it's lazy. Would I guess would that be putting it
Oh,
lightly? Is that it's a bit lazy to
yeah,
do that
it
many
is.
and then just have it
I mean,
rinse and
it
repeat?
is. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna actually. Yeah, I was gonna give them a break there, but no, it's lazy. I feel like if the track's only 30 seconds long, they could have literally made like 16 obstacles, and probably no one would have made it to the end,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have been 16 unique obstacles. And that's one more thing that Dave just brought up. No editor objects in the DLC.
That's crazy.
And I believe,
Because they did
I'm not
that with
sure,
every
it
other
was,
Fusion one, right? They would add in
yeah.
DLC obstacles every time for
Well,
all the DLCs.
apparently their reasoning was because they wanted Track Central to be accessible for everyone. But in reality, they could have just allowed anyone to play Track Central regardless of whether they owned the DLC. So in reality, it basically just means that they couldn't be bothered to make new objects for the DLC. That's pretty much my take on how it looks from like an outside perspective.
I mean, did they even add any new obstacles to the tracks? I honestly couldn't even tell. Like if they just used the base game stuff from the DLC.
There is no new objects in the game.
Okay.
Like, not that they didn't just release them to the public. Like they made the DLC with base game objects only, as far as I'm aware.
And I guess, you know, Mark said that, you know, there's 8,000 objects already.
Yeah.
I guess that is a fair point, but
it's not that fair of a point though when you consider that like 1,000 of them are actually stuff that you'd want to use.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the other
And
7,000?
it's like garbage, like, you know, variations and stuff that no one gives a shit about.
Yeah, well, it's weird.
Maybe I'm being too harsh.
It seems like, well, no, it's fine because I think it's taking a step backwards because you look at Fusion and they added new obstacles for literally every single DLC, all 6 or 7 of them.
All 6 plus ALM.
Yeah. Plus the awesome Max Unicorn shenanigans. So I think it's a bit of a step back. However, they have made up for it with like all of the other installments like being accessible, like all those objects from the other games at least.
I think but even then, I don't know if anyone else knows this, but when I was in the editor like a while back, I noticed that a lot of the Evo objects in particular didn't have that great of collisions. Like I like the ramp object. There was like a metal ramp, which is obviously a ramp, so it's meant to be like driven on. It had like a massive lip on either side of it, and it was like really annoying. I actually had to use an Uber ramp to cover a ramp, just because of how shit the collision was. And it makes me wonder how many other objects have really bad collisions.
Going back to that other skill game though, the steel ball run, that one is it's a good idea, but the execution I think was not very good on it. It seems like your bike is extremely bouncy. It's hard. And they sure did a hell of a good job of making it really hard to get a good time on it. Trying to go for a diamond seems like out of the question for me. I would have to spend all day working on like what, you know, how my bike reacts to this steel ball, because it's just all over the place, I think, for me. So
yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. I played it like once and I didn't even get the bronze. So
I actually saw somebody on Track Central. They released the Evo skill game, you know, when you have that ramp above your bike.
Oh yeah.
And you have the ball. And yeah, somebody remade that for the skill game, and I hadn't tried it out yet, but I just saw the thumbnails like, oh, that's really cool. I'd like to see some more old school like skill games again on Track Central. Awesome idea.
That's the thing. That I used to really enjoy doing that on like Evo, like just playing skill games. I need to hop back on Ryzen sometime and just check out like the month worth of Track Central stuff that I haven't that I've missed pretty much.
Yeah, in general, DLC is good. Skill games a little lackluster.
DLC is decent. Let's not go as far as saying it's good.
I think the driving lines and the decoration was phenomenal for like literally all of them.
The way I look at it is, once again, similar to the base game, the track design team have done an excellent job, and everyone else is just like, meh, you know.
I think there's still a lot of bugs, and people are still hacking leaderboards, though. That's still kind of an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to fix that.
We'll get there. I don't know when it's happening, but we'll get there, goddammit.
That's the thing about the leaderboards, is I don't really know why people care. It doesn't really affect anything because they are eventually going to get deleted. And it's not like you sort of... It doesn't affect you in any way, really. Because you know that they're going to get removed eventually. It just depends when they can be bothered to do it. Like, yeah, it's annoying, but it's not a big deal. I don't see it as a big deal, honestly.
Do you think that we should ask a question like Slick's here right now? Should we pretend that Slick's here right now?
Ask Slick the big question.
So I was talking to Slick a little bit. It's really unfortunate that he... Oh, actually, hold on. He messaged me.
Ooh.
When did he message me? Oh, he messaged me like 30 minutes ago. I didn't even see it. Oh, he thought that we weren't going to do it because the others left to celebrate Easter.
Huh?
Well,
time to hop on. Better late than never.
Yeah. We'll message him. Hop on real quick. We've been going for like, what, 30 minutes so far, I think?
Yeah.
We're just kind of shooting
longer.
the shit at the beginning. Maybe a little bit longer than that. This would be awesome if you could still hop in here, because like some of the questions that I wanted to ask Slick, based around, you know, just the simple stuff like when he started building and when he started playing Trials in general. That's always an interesting question, because I know he goes way back to building on huge bangers on Evo. I don't know if he built anything on HD. That's something I would wonder about. He was really into that game on HD. Who in the chat has known Slick the longest? Is there anybody in here that is like really good friends with Slick that has known him since like HD days?
Don't know if Plop's still here, but I'm pretty sure he's known him for quite a while.
That Jacob's known him for quite a long time. And you know, some other stuff that I'm really interested to hear from Slick is like, how was he able to keep pushing the boundaries of like the skill ceiling for Trials games? Seems like he's always at the forefront of you know.
Yeah, I mean,
level.
I've got a few things to say about that, but I'd rather he was here. But yeah, I think he's at the forefront because he's one of the only people who really cares enough to be at the forefront. Like, there's like, you got like two types of builders in that regard. You got people like Slick and Dave who are like trying to push difficulty,
mm-hmm.
And then you've got people like sort of me and a lot of other people who don't want to make obscenely hard shit that like 2 people are gonna play, and that are quite happy just making fun lower level tracks for like a larger audience.
Yeah, you can motivate people through either having just some ridiculous types of checkpoints that people really struggle to get the techniques down for. And then you can go on the other side and say, oh, I'm going to motivate people by making it like a really hard speedrunning, like, you know, practicing the times for it and like, and setting the medals so people feel a little more inclined to like keep going and like make it, you know, almost like a Red Link's career one, like with that kind of caliber. And then you could go on the other side and say, oh, I'm just going to make it like really well decorated. It's going to be just a simple driving line. And then you could try to mash everything together and make it just one, you know, 11 out of 10 type of track that's just pushing the boundaries beyond anything you'd expect. But how would you, so this is something, I don't know if I asked you this before when you were first on Cab, but like, how would you motivate others to build? Because I like to ask Slick about this quite a bit. And I do actually have a quote from him. I was talking to him about it. So I guess I can kind of read that. But I want to hear your thoughts initially on like, how would you motivate yourself or others to like get into it?
I think I've actually thought about this in the past. Motivating others and motivating yourself are two very different things, because I feel like motivating someone who has no interest in playing the editor is like, it's sort of like a losing game from the get-go. Like, you can't really motivate someone who doesn't have any interest in it. But motivating yourself is like a different question, because like, you obviously want to be there, but you just don't have the motivation. So I don't know. I always lose motivation quite quickly if I'm not happy with like what I'm building. In a sense, like, if something doesn't like look good enough in my eyes or something, I'll lose motivation like really quickly, and then I'll probably just disappear from the track for like a couple of days until I can be bothered to try again.
Would you sometimes gain motivation by like looking at like other people writing some really insane tracks, or like watching YouTube videos with stuff? Does that help you, or like watching streams?
Nah, I don't particularly use other people's tracks when I build my own. I use a lot of like Google and stuff, but that's not really motivation.
Mm.
I don't know. I guess nah, I wouldn't say I do, to be honest. I'm not really sure. It's just it's easy to get demotivated. It's a lot harder to get yourself back into it. You just gotta sort of keep at it. If you're a builder though, you probably already know that. And motivating a non-builder to start building is, I'm gonna say, like, impossible. If they don't want to be there to begin with, you probably won't persuade them to spend hours there. Especially if they then kind of get into it but lose motivation. If
Yeah.
they're not like trying to become a builder, then they probably won't come back to it.
So I think maybe there's a process to being able to get motivated to build. For me, I think the first step was just enjoying playing really hard tracks that made me learn new techniques. After learning how to do these techniques, you can apply them, and you could see other people doing them on, like, you know, just some insane level, like 5+ ninja tracks. And then another motivational thing for me is just seeing all of these really creative, you know, people are able to, I don't know, like, keep the game alive for me. Like, that's motivational enough for me, is to be like, oh, they're providing content for the community.
Yeah,
and
but does that motivate you to build?
It does for me, because I want people to enjoy the game a lot longer, because other people have made me enjoy the game a lot longer.
So what have
I'm
you
trying to
built?
reciprocate, like, and I've published, like, what, the individual tracks basically, and that was literally it. So what I'm trying to do, like, one of my goals for Rising is to create, I have in the works right now, like, kind of a really wonky technical track called Jammed, and then I have another one that's gonna be a climb track that I've been kind of messing around with. But yeah, I just want to be able to reciprocate and, like, give back to the community, not only by streaming and just enjoying others' company, but, like, providing, I don't know, I feel like I need to provide even more because of how much time I've invested into this game, the series.
But yeah, I agree with that. I think adding to Track Central is definitely a good thing. I don't think it's for everyone, and I don't think it should be, because if you're not fully invested in the track that you're building, then you're probably gonna build crap.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One of the quotes that Slick had, to kind of talk about what motivates him. So this is what he said. What motivates him is that he makes sure every obstacle that he puts down, that he really enjoys it. Like, he has to retest it over and over again, is kind of what he was saying to me. And constantly, or keeping yourself consistently building, I think, is another key factor that I kind of struggle to do. And that's where I need to take that extra step and make sure that I sit down with it, you know, each time at least that I get on trials, that I should go into the editor and try to crank out at least, like, a checkpoint and see where I can go from there. And he also said that making a theme that you like is very motivational, and envision what the track would look like when it's done. Just try to maybe make an outline is something that I would personally do if I was trying to think of a theme, because I've thought about, like, the Blade Runner kind of like a tech noir type of vibe is something that I've really wanted to do. And my favorite track from the last podcast I talked about, that Neo New York, is like that kind of vibe. That's the exact vibe I wanted to get in a track. But that is so well decorated. I don't know if I could even come close to making that for my first attempt on decoration. But I'm gonna probably try to keep it simple at first. Like Slick does a lot of his builds, he mostly focuses on the driving line and then kind of adds to the decoration afterwards, which I think is a good idea. And to keep pushing yourself. And if you're making a solid track, make, you know, a lot of support beams. Make sure that nothing's, like, just floating there, unless you have, like, I don't know, some special like afterburner effect underneath it to make it look like it's like levitating, stuff like that.
I think that's really good advice from Slick, though. To be honest, if you have a vision and you can see it looking really good, that's definitely like good motivation. Whereas if you go into the editor without any sort of vision, you end up just building like that's basically how you get like an Uber ramp track or something. Is by not having a vision, you end up with a line that has nothing else. Sometimes it's not even a good line. But yeah, really good piece of advice from Slick there. Because that's what I do when I start a new track. I have like an idea of what
Oh, is my room
theme's
too
gonna
bright?
be.
Hold on. Turn down the light a little bit. Keep going.
Nah, that was pretty much all I had to say. But yeah, good advice.
I didn't realize it was so bright.
Looking to get in the building.
Oh man. A little bit of a different topic. Junior's asking me how I named myself Doughnut 3000. I guess it'd be a fun little segue, little break here in between all this stuff that we can talk a little more personalized since it's just us two. So I got my name. I've told a lot of people in the stream before from Red vs. Blue. So I used to watch that Halo series where it was actual in-game content, but they would voice it over in a way like they would move the characters' bodies like while they were talking. And there was a character on there named Doughnut. Now Doughnut wasn't my first pick. It definitely wasn't the first pick, but Caboose was my favorite character. He's the dimwit who talks really funny and whatnot. He was hilarious in my opinion. Back when I made this account, I think I was about 11 or 12 years old. And it was a toss-up between Griff and Doughnut. I like them pretty equally. Griff, it was like one of my favorites because he was obsessed with Oreos, and I love Oreos as well. So, yeah, and I was a huge fan of Halo. That's pretty much the reason that I chose Doughnut. And the 3000, I'm not sure where that came from. I wanted it to sound like futuristic, like a Terminator, like highly optimized AI Doughnut. I don't know where I was going with it. But I actually screwed up my name when I originally made it. It was Donal. I put an L instead of the T for like a year before my brother came in and he was like, "Dude, why is your name Donal 3000? Isn't it supposed to be Doughnut?" And I felt like an idiot for at least a year. I think I had it as Donal. But yeah, that's just the quick gist of why I named myself Doughnut. How about you, Cab?
Don't ask me. Oh my god.
I want to
don't
hear
even
yours.
know, I actually don't have anything. I literally just 16-year-old me came up with a random name when he bought his Xbox.
Are you a hairy guy?
I am now, but I wasn't when I was 16. So maybe I just knew.
You knew you were gonna be a hairy guy in general?
Yeah.
Thinking of the future. You know, he's ahead of the game. 200,000 IQ plays coming out of Cab, the name. But do you like cabbages? Like, is that like one of your favorite veggies or something?
I don't like them at all.
I own a donut shop. I wish I did. God, that would be so perfect if I actually owned a donut shop. If I could stream inside of my donut shop, like that'd be great too. Donald 3000? Nah, just Donal. Just screwed up the T at the end of it. Yeah. Fancy, wouldn't I know it's spelled wrong since I have to type it into the login? The fuck? I don't know. I was oblivious.
Nah, you don't have to type it in to log in. You log in with your email address.
This was so long ago, too. Like, I think my screen was too small, so I couldn't tell. Like, I thought there was a little like lip at the bottom. You know how the T is, like, you know, on the chat it has like that little lip. The L had the same thing. I just couldn't even see the little the T formation from it. But anyways, what was the other topic? Oh, should we talk about porting tracks? Porting tracks. I thought we were gonna start the stream with it, and we ended up just talking about people getting paid to like build and people. Actually, wait, did we even talk about getting paid for tracks that much? We just mostly talked about people getting paid for medals. We can talk about porting
Yeah,
tracks.
we didn't talk about porting tracks.
Let's talk about porting tracks. I think this is a really good topic that we've also been discussing in the community quite a bit, at least in my stream. I'm sure others were talking about it too. Yeah, there's a lot of tracks that have been ported over to Rising. Now, before I share my personal opinion on it, I wanted to share what something that Caveman Dave was telling me. So Dave, he's a very prominent figure in the building community. We've had him in here before, and he's constantly talking and making stuff for us. I'll just go into this quote. Builders don't want Track Central flooded with fusion tracks. In your head, you ask, what's the point in building when you could just get someone to port one of my fusion tracks? A true remake takes time and effort, and you can respect that, but simply porting tracks from another game is lazy, and it will hurt building in the long run on Rising, in his opinion.
I have a comment
to make go for it, Cab.
about what he said there. Okay, I want to point out specifically when he says, what's the point in building when I could just get someone to port one of my fusion tracks? Yeah? Now, if you actually think about what he's saying there, what he's saying is he's building remakes of his own tracks from Fusion. Like, if you are building original tracks in Ryzen, then porting a Fusion track shouldn't be an issue because it's not going to be the same. Like, it shouldn't demotivate you to build in Ryzen because unless you're remaking your own tracks in Ryzen, then you're building new original content.
I just think it'd be more worth it to build an original at that point.
But you see that's the thing, right? Is that it takes no time basically to port a track, and it's extra content for people to play. And you can do it while still building more original tracks. Like I have no issue with porting as long as you've got permission from the builder. It's kind of just like taking all of the good tracks from Fusion and keeping them going for longer. Like
I think the consent is definitely the biggest factor in this, and like making sure that you're giving credit to people. But then on the other side, I don't think I should worry about this too much, but I worry about it just becoming flooded, and then the original tracks are gonna get lost.
Well, no,
I think maybe if it had its own section, that would be kind of cool. What if there was like another section for ports to be instead of just being on the front page with with everything, even the original stuff? I think that'd
as long as garbage isn't being ported and it's just good tracks, then it can only be good for the game. Like even if you don't personally want to replay a track, the fact that it's there can never really be a bad thing. Like, and tracks like, I mean, not tracks, websites like Ninja Central, I'm not exactly sure.
I just don't think that original tracks would be seen as much.
They will, though. They'll be seen by the people who want to see them. I think anyone who is interested in original tracks is checking the feeds like daily and playing them. And anyone who's not checking them daily can hopefully find them on Ninja Central if it picks up again and people start adding tracks. So I don't see it as a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm more on that side, but I understand like why some people would be a bit more fearful, especially Dave and others that are like they're really trying their best to create original stuff. I totally get that.
Mean, that's the thing though, like,
but Track Central is kind of it's slow right now. It doesn't seem like there's that many new original stuff, so I think it's fine as long as, you know, of course, the consent and like making sure that like putting in the description who built the track. Like we don't want any sort of form of like plagiarism, like people are getting credit for porting these tracks over. I think it's really nice that people port.
As long as it's like permission, then I'm perfectly okay with it.
Yeah.
I'd be really happy if my entire catalog, maybe not my entire catalog, if like my good tracks were available.
No. Please stop unloading these good tracks. No, please, they're too good.
On Ryzen.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know. It's not. I don't see it as a bad thing.
It's cool trying out. So on the plus side, we can keep like bouncing back and forth between pros and cons. One of the plus sides is that I like to try out Congo on the Mantis. Like, it's cool testing these tracks out
Congo's
again.
Available, isn't it?
Yeah, Congo was ported over.
It looks really bad though.
It looks different. It looks a lot more green. Seems like there's a lot more foliage going on.
The color of the planks of wood didn't transfer over as it should have, I guess.
Yeah, it's like more of like a mossy green instead of like that dark like forest type of green.
I feel like saying that it sort of dilutes the pool of track isn't really a valid argument, because I mean, there's barely anyone building worthwhile ninjas at the moment anyway, and as long as you're keeping an eye on the feed, a couple of remakes every now and then isn't going to stop you from seeing what you want to see, you know?
And there's, another positive side about this is that I imagine that there's a lot of people on Rising that haven't seen these tracks before. Maybe a lot of new Ninja players haven't seen Fusion at all. So like that's just another good reason to have them on here. And maybe it'll motivate people to be like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out for a long time. If these are on Fusion, holy cow, I better start building. I better start grinding these ninjas away. Like, it could be another good motivational tool for it.
I don't know. As a builder, like, maybe other builders see it differently, but I'd be very happy if my track's lifespan was extended. Like, I spent a lot of time building my last few tracks, and it definitely wouldn't bother me if they got an extra 5 years of life without any effort. You know what I mean?
I still need to try out. I still didn't beat the full launch control. The launch beast.
You see, it's tracks like that which probably won't ever get ported because they utilize the ground a lot.
Would you be okay if somebody ported your tracks?
I'd be absolutely fine.
Be fine with it?
But I think launch control and perimeter check, because they're both built on the seabed, I don't think it would be. Well, I mean, there'd be a lot of digging involved, and then you'd have to actually rework the ground to make them playable. But tracks like Shafted and Structural Decay could definitely be ported because they're built like miles up in the sky.
Marty said that he played Congo today, saw it for the first time. After you played it, you logged back into Fusion and tried that one out. How did it compare to, Marty, on Fusion and Rising? But yeah, go ahead, Cab.
When you asked if I would be okay with my tracks being on Fusion, on Rising, I'd only be okay if I was the person uploading it. I wouldn't want other people to upload it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to check it first to make sure it was like up to standard. I wouldn't want someone to, like, kind of like Congo, like Jamaican probably give permission for someone to upload Congo, and then they just uploaded it as is, and it looks like crap, and it doesn't really represent what the track used to be.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely wouldn't want that to happen to one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rework it if it needed color fixes and stuff to make sure that it was, looking good. And then I would release it myself, because I would want it under my name as well. Sorry, Try.
I think, yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, the fucking flicking Zippo noise. I was like, yeah, that's not me, man. That's all yeah. Cab.
No one upload my tracks, please.
If you do,
I wouldn't really care if anyone did, but
he'll find you.
Yeah.
And he'll make you sign a contract, and you're gonna have to pay him for uploading his tracks. Which brings me to paying people for building tracks. I totally forgot. Like, we totally skipped that over. I wanted to talk about that immediately after we said, Dempsey paying GT4 to get diamond medals for him. Yeah, so people getting paid to build ninja tracks. So I really wish that Slick was in here, because this is the topic. Yeah, this was the topic that we'll have to maybe follow up with him later next week. Hopefully I can talk to him more like in person about it and kind of let you guys know, or like maybe I can have him on like while I'm streaming or something, and we just talk about it while I'm playing games. But yeah, this was something that is extremely controversial. I know a lot of people did not really agree with people getting paid, I think. I don't know. What do you think of the consensus, Cab? Did people disagree with it more? That Slick was getting paid to build tracks?
People are smart enough to disagree with it, honestly. I spoke about this a lot, like back when it sort of happened. And most people who have heard me talking about it would probably know that I was definitely against it. I don't particularly care that he was making money, and like it's not like jealousy or anything. It's just this is my problem with it, and this is why it would never work. Like realistically, is that as a builder, like if you're expecting to be paid, you're expecting to be paid for the time that you put into something. But as a buyer, you're expecting to get good quality product at a realistic price. And those two things can never really be aligned to a satisfactory sort of outcome.
Yeah,
because
Slick's perception is going to be way different of like what a level 4 build.
Here's what would happen. You either spend like say if I built a track, I could spend like 200 hours, and if I charge you hourly for that, like $10 an hour or something, you know, no one's going to pay that for a single track in a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if I say, right, give me $20 for a track, that's 2 hours worth of building for my, like money wise, for my time. So I could build you a 2-hour track, but it ain't going to be pretty. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's a big it's a big problem. The quality is based on the amount paid, and like, so okay, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. I don't know the exact ratio of how Slick was forming like his what the payment was, like level 1s through 6s. Right? It was like $10 for a level 1, like 20 for a 2, 30 for a level 3. And then on top of that, like the person that was paying him, I think that they wanted to see the build like consistently and just make sure that the decoration was like up to what they wanted. Or if they just said, hey, go at it, make a front wheel back wheel lever track that that is this difficulty, and just like surprise me.
That's the thing. Like if you look at Slick's tracks and you compare the tracks that he built that were paid for, they're significantly worse than the tracks that he built on his own, sort of like off his own back. Because the tracks that he built before he got paid, he built because he wanted to build, whereas the tracks that he built that he got paid for, he probably only put in the amount of hours that he took, like an hourly rate for how much he was getting paid. So he probably only spent like 3 hours on most of the tracks that he done. And 3 hours, like any builder knows, even like a shit builder knows that 3 hours isn't long enough to build a decent track, especially not something that you're building for someone for a price. You just can't do it.
I think
no one's going to be happy.
I think that
it was never going to be sustainable.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to negativity stuff in just a second, but like some of the pros that I get out of this, so you're supporting income for an individual when you're doing this. I'm trying to relate this back to like streaming, and if you're doing YouTube and stuff, and you're making money off of that, you're doing it because you enjoy it. Probably, I would imagine that you're really passionate about it, and that
that's the thing,
you're doing it a certain way.
Building because he stopped enjoying it, and then he moved on to paying or selling tracks. So he stopped building when he didn't want to build for himself.
Yeah,
anymore,
that more incentive is a double-edged sword. It's definitely a double-edged, man. I agree. I think that more tracks could be produced, but that quality might not be there. But having more tracks is still, it could be a plus in my opinion, right?
That was one of his selling points. He sort of done it during a time when no one really played the game,
Mhm.
or like no builders really played, so there wasn't any new tracks coming in. It was sort of like that grey period, like a year before Fusion, when people knew that Fusion was sort of like coming sometime, but didn't know when, and like no one really played the game anymore.
Mhm.
So he was like, "Yeah, I'll sell some tracks, make some easy money to people who do pay, because no one's building." And he himself had stopped building tracks for himself. So that alone means that you're not going to get the quality. Like if he doesn't want to build for himself without like a paycheck at the end of it, then you know that you're not getting the best quality track. So why would you buy something from someone who's purely in it for the money and has stopped doing it for themselves? I don't understand. Like anyone who bought a track must have known that they weren't going to get something that was worth what they paid.
I think the amount of effort that needs to go forth in a really good build is just it's more worth it for the builder themselves to get the satisfaction of people just enjoying it, and because the rates that you would have to have for, like, you know, if you're like even a minimum wage for like getting paid for this
That's
stuff,
what I mean. Like
it's ridiculous.
the two sides of the trade never match up. You're either going to spend too long on it to where you're not making enough money, or you're not going to spend long enough because you're selling it at an actual price that someone's willing to pay. It's not sustainable in any way, and it doesn't surprise me that it flopped after like a week and you only had like two people who actually bought them.
So the only okay, I just thought of this, but like the only way I could really see this working out is if we had a huge community. This needs to be like way more expansive, man.
With a huge community, you don't need to pay people to build tracks. People just build them.
People just build them,
I mean?
I think. But
the only reason he was able to sell tracks is because the game was dead at the time.
But also Slick was he's also really well known for like making, you know, we already said that he's like pushing the boundaries of levels.
But then he didn't sort of fulfill what people expected from him.
Yeah.
You know? Like people when if you buy a Slick track, you expect a track that's of the quality of a Slick track. What he produced for paying customers was worse than what he produced before anyone paid him anything. Which means, like, I don't know.
I think that having
you're sort of ruining your own reputation at that point.
I think the exposure is good. Like if you hear that somebody is getting paid to like make tracks, that's like, oh wow, that's gonna bring a lot of interest to me, at least, because I started playing ninjas.
I sort of feel the opposite. I feel like I wouldn't want to be known for getting paid.
But like
if someone was like, I would gladly make a track for money.
Like, if that exposure was like in the community, though, do you think that would somehow get to Red Links? Like, I want to just talk briefly about the situation with Zach again, how he was offered a position like a long time ago.
Slick wouldn't, without sounding like offensive, Slick doesn't build the tracks in a way that Red Links would ever.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Track.
Yeah, because he would need a lot more decoration, like Zach is able to put forth. But I just think of like what the opportunity that might come forth from like having this sort of exposure of like being known for.
I don't think the exposure would be good from Red Link's standpoint. If you're known for like selling tracks to a community that when other people are doing it for free of like their own enjoyment for the game, and you're out here saying that, yeah, I don't really want to build anymore, but if you pay me, then I'll carry on building.
Yeah.
That's not a good look, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
they would have to be so above and beyond like anything that you'd seen before.
Which they would never be, because
yeah.
If you were capable of building those type of tracks, you would have built them when you enjoyed building, not when you stopped enjoying it and were only doing it for the money. Like if you stop enjoying it and you only do it for the money, you're gonna want to spend as little time doing it as possible.
Yeah, I think you'd get burnt out. Like that's the problem of maybe the pressure of it turning into a job more than a hobby. And like I think about, you know, again, streaming and thinking of like I am here because I straight up enjoy it and I want to keep continuing with it because it is. I mean, it's not just for me anymore because I've been able to meet so many passionate people about this game and be able to share experiences and stuff in game and even out of game. It's like we could talk about whatever in my streams. It's
That's fine.
so
What
amazing.
Harm said. That's fine. Like, if you really enjoy a builder's work and you want to like donate to them, then fucking
Absolutely do it.
Do it.
Absolutely.
Definitely. But like, that's the only way it can really work. You'll never get a one-on-one transaction and both parties will be happy about it. The numbers just don't add up. Like what Vantia said before, doing what do you call it? Like a patron or something, like a Patreon or whatever.
Patreon, yeah, that's like your own little like web page.
Yeah, like
to
that
supply
would be a
content.
viable way of doing it. But expecting a single person to pay for a track is sort of the numbers just don't add up. Also, what Vantia said, Red Links versus the All Stars. Apparently, they got paid 1,000 for a single track. So
$1,000?
More like if someone
what?
if yeah, $1,000 for the track that they built.
Like if it made
DLC.
if it made it into the DLC, wasn't there like a competition for it?
No. They asked specific people.
Holy cow!
The DLC, and they got paid $1,000 for the track.
I never heard about this. That's actually incredible. I'm gonna have to look into that more.
If like let's say someone was willing to pay $1,000 for a track, like obviously Red Links are willing to pay because it's their game and they're gonna sell the DLC. But like if an actual like random person could pay that, like that is the only way that you'd get a decent quality track is if someone was willing to pay that much for the track. Like paying like
so maybe
$20-$30.
If you want to get paid, just talk to Red Links and show them that you can make some really high caliber like speedrunning tracks with insane decoration, and maybe you'll get an opportunity to like go in and work with them. Who knows?
Well,
that'd be cool. Like just talk to Red Links. I think more. I think that's a better idea.
They had 1 month, and they got paid $1,000 for the month to build a single track. Although I'm pretty sure one guy built 2 tracks, so I'm assuming he probably got paid like $2,000. Well, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I heard. Obviously, I'm not saying it's 100%, but that's what I heard. Reliable sources and whatnot.
Yeah, Mark said it's like, what if you're pumping out these really good tracks and then you're not getting donations for it? Would you stop building?
Well, no, because you see, that's the thing. You build because you want to build. You don't build because you expect to make money from it.
It's optional. You have to get it in your head that it's optional. It's something that you are passionate about.
It's the same as streaming, like you said. You stream because you enjoy it, and if you become successful, then like good times. But you don't stream expecting to make money because then you just come across as like fucking desperate, Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen too many sob stories for like, I don't want to get into it again, but like this guy was really good speedrunner in the Legend of Zelda, and he ended up having like this huge breakdown, ended up like transitioning genders, like it was a huge fiasco, and it's really sad like see begging like on streaming and stuff. I don't want to even get into that because it was heartbreaking. This guy was like somebody I definitely looked up to, and it's pretty ridiculous what's going on now with it. But I lost my train of thought. I was reading the chat a little bit. Oh, something else that I think we even talked about this before with like having a subscription based thing for like Track Central. I know this is a ridiculous idea, but like being able to access people's tracks by having a subscription to them.
Definitely. See, that's the same.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Yeah. But they'd have to be pumping
it's slightly better.
Dude, they'd have to be pumping out so many tracks to like maintain.
That's the thing, yeah. And that you see, that's the double-edged sword. You'd have to have enough tracks to make it worth it, but the more you pump out, the lower quality each track probably will be. So it's like, yeah, maybe not.
Track Central, dude. Yeah, no, that's a wild thought. I shouldn't even said that. Track Central subscription.
Track Central, is it? No.
Not a great idea. It needs to be open to the public. That's just so. That's blasphemy.
The way the editor works is that if you want to build, then build. You know what I mean? Like, just don't expect to make money from it. You know, that's just stupid. Just build because you enjoy it, and if you make money, then fair enough. Although Slick's the only person I think that I've ever heard of that's actually made any money from.
Yeah,
building.
you know, I don't
Except
know
for
anybody
obviously
else.
Yahtzee.
Does anybody else in the chat know anybody that made
That's
money?
because no one else fucking tried. You know what I mean? Like, no one's dumb. Like,
I keep
no
trying to
offense,
give Zach
Slick.
money, but
But
like he never streams. I wanted to give him money so badly because of all the shit that I loved in Fusion, and now that he's got Rising, like I owe Zach. I feel like I have a huge incentive to give Zach money because of what he's done. And he brought up a good point too. If you want to make money for track designing, why are you doing it in trials? Why not just study game development or something similar?
Exactly, just make a game. Like,
Yeah, just try to make a game as well. If you love it that much.
that's the thing. Like,
A platformer.
as soon as you start trying to make money from it, your quality is gonna go down, and you know,
It's gonna stress you out
no
more.
one's gonna want it anyway.
I think it's gonna stress you out too much.
Build for yourself, not for other people. That's how I do it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
then, you know, if people like it, then great. If people don't like it, then suck a dick.
Then suck a dick. I ain't making any more. I ain't making money. I don't enjoy it. No, you gotta love it. Gotta love it, man.
That's the mistake Slick made, is that he enjoyed building, but then once he stopped enjoying building, then he transitioned into trying to like turn it into some sort of money making thing because he knew that he was good at it. But obviously he got bored of it. But he still had the skills to do it.
I wonder if he's making anything right now. If he's got anything in the works. That was another question I had for him.
Money. I don't know.
I don't know either. What's up, guys? Hello, welcome. Anybody that joined in. Oh, did I say Darkside? Thanks for the host, by the way. I forgot to announce that. Thank you, sir. Since it's Easter, I wanted to talk about Easter eggs a little bit. Let's transition this really abruptly, unless, I don't know. Did we come at a good conclusion? I think we had a good conclusion for that.
Yeah, conclusion was that it's dumb and that it's never going to work.
Unless you're Zach and then get hired by Redlings.
Yeah, that's different though. That's a good job. That would be good.
Yeah.
Then again, Zach technically probably did get hired by Redlings. He just fucking didn't read the email.
I don't think he saw it. Poor guy.
Rip.
No, he does architecture. I think he likes that, and he probably gets paid extremely well for that too. So Zach's fine. I think Zach's fine right now. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Easter eggs in Trials Rising really quick since it's Easter. Again, Matt ADM was talking to me the other day about this. So there is a Easter egg on the Temple of Trials. There's a portal. So there is like a little hidden pathway you gotta activate. You gotta hit the, what is it, like the little squirrel platform at the very beginning of the track, and then there's a little what is it, like a cauldron that you drop into near the start of the track. So when you drop down there are 4 flames that are just regular orange, and then there's like a level that you can go and do. But if you sit there at the beginning, actually, you know what? I actually have this ready to show you guys. Okay, so I'll explain it while this is playing. So this is courtesy of T-Hill, Real T-Hill. He made a video of this along with a couple others. Hold on, I gotta make sure this is popping up. I had this ready to go to kind of show you the beginning of what this is. Okay, there it is. So Temporal Trials Portal Easter egg. Pause it a little bit at the beginning. So drop down between 2 barrel objects at the start. Need to land on and activate the scroll button. Easy peasy. It's this thing right there. So you drive past the checkpoint 1 onto the fallen concrete pillar. You roll backwards, and there is a little area that's kind of hidden underneath here. You drop down here. Everything's normal, you'd think. And then with this third section, you have to wait. And when you wait here, you'll start to realize that the flames start to change different colors. First turns blue, and then I think it's green. Skip ahead a little bit, and then one of them stays orange, and then another becomes red. So I never stopped and stayed here. I don't know who figured this out first of all, of just chilling out there. Maybe they like went to go take a piss or get something to eat, and they came back. They're like, wait, there's another portal behind me. I'm just gonna give the credit to T Hill for just having this video up here. When this thing activates, when you wait there for long enough, you can bail out into the portal, and there's this little room that you'll run into. Now, when you land in this room, there's the 4 pillars, and they're guessing it's based on the colors of the flames. And what they've also found out is there are 4 levels that have these buttons that associate with the colors. And there's been 2 of them found so far. What was wrote down? So there's one on Pripyat, that's the green button. And there's a button on Chinese Cliffs, which is the blue button. I'm guessing that a lot of people have maybe have heard about this, that have seen it before. Now, this one's unsolved as of right now. There's they're thinking another button on MX and the city, but we don't really know like what's going on with it yet. Not sure what level the 4th one's even on. My question for you guys is, does anybody even know about this, or has anybody gotten any more information on this stuff? Something that I kind of wanted to bring to everybody's attention because I think it's cool. I could imagine there might be another, like, there could be a skill game on this. Like, once you hit all 4 buttons, there might be a new one. There could be like an entirely different level. There could be some interesting cutscene. Those are kind of my thoughts. Cab, do you like this kind of stuff?
I do, but I'm not very good at like solving stuff.
Like finding out
I
what
don't
everything
have the
is?
patience for like super long riddles and stuff.
Yeah, that's a huge riddle.
I definitely enjoy the existence of it though, and like sort of following the community progress is definitely something interesting.
Yeah, so if you want to see the other content, go check out T Hill's page. He's got a couple. What does he do? He does the trials records as well as this Easter egg thing. But yeah, he's got a couple videos walking you through how to do the ones on Pripyat and Chinese Cliffs, if anybody wants to try it out and maybe just try to work their way through it and try to solve it. Because yeah, could be something good from it, could be something lame, who knows. Don't really know what we're gonna get out of it. Let me go back to what you guys were saying. I didn't did anybody say anything about how they solved it, maybe? Cab, in there yet? Are you looking at the chat?
Can be. I don't think anyone solved it though.
Did the MX one for hours and you found nothing, Ace? Damn. You unlocked the Pit Viper once you solve it.
That would be the one right there.
That would be wild, man.
I'd chip in if that was the case.
Yeah, that's worth it. That's worth it, man.
Give me a track to search and I'll be there.
Something
Everyone
like the
just chose
Evo.
a track. If you got like 50 people, just all chose a track and just searched it with like free cam or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could probably be done, maybe. Unless they like are smart and like hide the button in free cam.
So what happened with the Evo riddle? Do you know that one, Cab? What was the Evo
Heard
one?
of it, never knew anything about it. Same with like I've never really followed any of the sort of riddle stuff in trials. I've always like known about them, but like not known about them, if that makes sense. Like I've known of them, but not anything about them. Apart from like the 5th key, but that was only because it was an achievement. So yeah, easy key.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna have to go find the other ones were what, the little cubes that unlock the helmet.
The Easter eggs, yeah.
The actual Easter eggs to unlock some customization, some equipment for your character. So I might have to do that right after we conclude the podcast, which I think we're about to wrap up with. I think we're about that time.
Yep.
There was actually a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about really quick because we didn't get to them. last time. We can discuss these whatever pace we want to. If I mean, we talked about it a little bit before. I think we talked about it after the last podcast, actually. So, because I was like, oh, I forgot to bring up the speedrunning strategies and building confidence and just having kind of a discussion about like what console people play on as well and what people should or should not play on. But let me talk about this Reddit post. This is by Devil's Demon. So this was an interesting strategy towards speedrunning, and I thought it was talking about building confidence as kind of what I got out of it. So this is the quote. When chasing leaderboard times, sort by region instead of global. This person's ranked 350 globally, but 3rd regionally. When they're trying to grind a track, they find it a lot more motivated to race against the top region times instead of global times. It feels a lot more doable being so close to the top. It is much more motivating than being the 300th from the top. And this person completely ignores the global leaderboards because they know they won't compete for a long time, like with the top runners. However, it gives them hope with the region. Does anybody else do this? End quote. So, Cab, discuss with them what you'd said to me earlier today. I thought it was really good about like the region and stuff.
Said that it's not necessarily true that switching region is gonna make you climb the leaderboards better. Like if you're like not a top player but you're like a really good player and you switch regions, the only people who are ahead of you are people that you probably can't beat anyway. So whereas on the overall leaderboards, the person who's just ahead of you, you can probably squeeze in front of and then, keep going from there. But like let's say you're from the UK. There's like a fucking lot of good players from the UK.
Hal just said that exact same thing. Too many good riders in the UK.
So like if you're from the UK and you're like a like good rider but not like the best, if you switch to the UK leaderboards, that's just gonna demotivate you even more than the global.
I like the thought, but yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like there's so many different regions. If you're what'd you say in Australia? Like if you're in Australia,
Yeah, like,
maybe
if you're in Australia or something, then
that'd be a really good motivational.
By playing the game.
If you're in France, maybe a little bit better. Unless you want to compete with
France has got some decent players, I think.
GT4?
Maybe. Actually, I don't think many French people play Ryzen. I think a lot of French people, at least that I've seen on Twitch, are playing Fusion still. Like Rafu, I think, still plays Fusion.
I think this thought is good. It could be enhanced a little bit more, and just you could cast a wider net and just talk about how obtainability is like the main factor. Like you got to be constantly setting goals for yourself. If you want to become
if you
at
want
the
to
top.
look like you're improving, don't look at the top players, but still look at global. Just look at the people who are just above you, instead of looking at like rank 1.
I think that having a lot of friends on your list as well, and being able to compete with people that you're around the same skill range when it comes to speedrunning is another really good motivational factor of
Make some friends with like shit people. Easy.
Really boost the ego a little bit with
yeah, like if you're really crap at trials, just find some other people who are like slightly less crap than you, and then you'll be sorted. Doesn't matter where they're from. Switch to friends. Job done.
Yeah, I just thought it was a nice little topic to kind of make me think about what motivates me with speedrunning, and it's more based around my friends, I think. Way more on the friends list. I'd try to throw that in instead. Good stuff. Last thing. Bit of a cheat, another quickie with this topic. What console should you play Trials Rising on?
PC is like the only console that you should play on, really. I actually don't live by that rule myself. I play on Xbox, but if you're a builder, PC, because you have the ability to easily back up saves and mess around with files and shit.
Yeah, I think
And
they fixed that.
as long as you've got a good
Fortunately,
PC, then no, but not even like. You see, here's the thing, like even with the glitch fix, there's still a good chance at some time within the lifespan of Fusion or Ryzen, you're gonna fucking lose your save on console. Like it
yeah.
happens on like every Trials game. So like at least on PC you can like make sure that you've backed up the save.
I
Plus you
think
can
that it
mess around with
runs.
editor files and stuff.
I think it runs fine on the newer generation for PlayStation, and Xbox. However,
Yeah,
if you have
but
the OG ones, dude, it sucks. It is unplayable for a
it
lot of the
does.
career stuff.
Does.
It's really rough, you guys. Please take it from me. Take it from others that you can't run some tracks. You can't run a lot of Track Central
PC is the only
either.
platform.
Yeah, PC. I've had stuttering problems, but that's only because I'm doing a lot of stuff at the same time. It's a pretty big load on the computer for me to be able to
Jeez,
stream
that's me every night.
and play. It's ectoplasm. A ghost came by. I swear. Nintendo Switch best platform for mobility. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
mobility.
getting the Switch version tomorrow, to be honest.
Mobility. That'll be cool. Yeah, tell me all about that, Cab. I want to hear your thoughts on what it's like for. You should try out the editor on Switch. I want to hear what it's like on
That
that.
would be interesting.
Yeah.
Get a cheeky build stream in the fucking Switch.
That'd be sick.
Release a banger.
I saw a little bit more discussion in the Discord. I think it was from Scott. Talking about what console people should be playing Rising on, and the discussion transitioned to like throughout history, what was the go-to console for Trials?
Yeah, chunky.
And I think it was Xbox, right?
Xbox.
I think
could be,
Xbox
but
was
because they
the main
didn't
one.
optimize, like because the game just runs so fucking unbelievably poorly, which is like unacceptable, really. But like, it just means that if you are one of the millions of people who have an original PS4 or Xbox, then you basically can't fucking play the game. You know, it's just. Well, I mean, you can play the game, like, but you can't play it like an expected good experience the entire way through.
Was it just more competitive back on? Everybody's saying the Xbox 360. It was just more people were grinding it out. Maybe it was more of a competition.
What was the question?
It was about like what console did you play on for like Trials? What was the go-to one that people went for? And everybody's saying
On which Trials? Like
they're saying the Xbox 360. So like I think it really started picking up more with Evo. I would guess.
yeah, I mean
Then?
Evo's like if you had to choose between 360 and PC for Evo, then obviously 360 is like the only option.
Did it just not run
But
very well on PC?
I don't know. Well, I mean the servers have shut down and shit for PC, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I haven't heard great things about the PC version, to be honest.
Yeah.
But on 360, the game is like flawless, you know. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like I don't remember ever having any issues with Evo on 360. No performance issues. It still looked good.
Yeah. I don't remember any
I mean,
issues with it
technically,
either,
it
but
basically looks as good.
yeah, I
as
didn't go
Ryzen
that
does now.
far into it though with Evo. I didn't know about any of this stuff till Fusion, until literally like, 2.5 years ago now. It's crazy. How new I still am to it. How like I still feel maybe not new. I'm getting that veteranness under my belt, but yeah, no, it's crazy. Like how long people have been around the community for compared to me still baffles me. Yeah, but it's definitely transition over to PC with Rising for me.
Yeah, PC's like if you want like an actual good experience, you basically have to have a decent PC and then just play it on PC. That's I guess all I can really say on that.
Yeah, I can't really
I don't
speak
want
too
to play on
much.
PC though.
What, you don't want to play on PC?
I will play on PC because it's obviously the better experience, but I would rather be playing it on Xbox. I'm honest.
Just because it's the console that you've always kind of stuck to
Yeah.
with all the Trials games, and
Yeah,
it's
I
a
don't know,
weird
I just
transition
prefer-
for me too.
I have no issue building on PC though. Like I actually prefer building on PC. It's a lot easier.
It's different for me because like when I'm streaming, like how I originally did it is I would have the HD capture card. I would have just the game noise coming into my headset, and then I would have the music and the notifications pop up on the external speakers, and I like that, so I was able to adjust it like pretty seamlessly. I've gotten used to it now, like being able to do the different mixing volumes for like having the in-game noise and the music all going at the same time. I've had to get used to being able to talk kind of over like music instead and try to change up like my own settings, but it's working out pretty well. I think the game looks awesome on PC. And yeah, that's all I got really.
But yeah, RD, that's the thing though, like you pretty like the game runs garbage on like every platform. You pretty much just have to choose the best of a bad bunch, you know, which is PC. The game in general is like pretty poor performance. But PC is definitely the better option.
For sure, man.
If you don't mind lag on a few tracks, the Xbox isn't too bad. There's a couple of tracks. Like it's bad, like the fact that anything happens at all, but like from like a sort of lesser critical standpoint, most of the game plays pretty well. It's just a few tracks.
All right. Well, I think that's it, man. I think that's it for me. Any concluding thoughts about what we've talked about today? Let's do like a little recap. I think we should do that. I'll do a little recap for us of the main topics that we discussed. So
Tritex wanted us to talk about paying for medals. You'll have to watch the VOD.
Or paying. Oh yeah, we talked about that early, like really early on in the stream. So that was the first thing that we talked about. Was paying people to get medals for you. Quick recap was Dempsey paid GT4 to get diamond medals for the ninja tracks. Let's see. We then talked about like content being locked or kind of hidden, like ninja stuff, and contracts being locked based on like you have to beat a certain ninja level to unlock like pretty much all the contracts. We talked about the DLC a little bit. We were thinking about like, are we going to see ninja tracks in the next DLC? Being kind of skeptical about it now, since we didn't see any in this. I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed but not surprised. I think is the best way to put it. That sums up this game, to be honest, for me. It's like the best way to describe this game. Disappointing but not surprising. That is Trials Rising.
Yeah, it has its moments, definitely. Then we talked about
I'll tell you what we should talk
boarding
about.
tracks and people getting paid to build tracks. And what's up, Cab? Anything else?
Quick detour into the recent patch. I can't remember if we meant when did the patch come out? No, yeah, it came out after the last podcast, so we haven't talked about it. The fact that you can't play editor tracks in fucking private multiplayer.
Oh, you can't?
How fucking stupid. A Red Link, seriously.
You can't. So you can't have people come in and test out tracks.
You can't test it blows my mind. Who the fuck is making these decisions? Seriously.
Check.
Who the fuck?
Oh my god! I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Who's making these decisions? I don't understand. Why does someone think that is fucking acceptable? Like I said it quite a few times before the patch. Like I said they were gonna fuck something up, and they didn't disappoint. I mean, they did disappoint, but fucking, they didn't disappoint in the fact that they were gonna disappoint. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
It's another step backwards.
It is.
It's just another
a very big step backwards. Like that was one of the most features for builders, is having people test your track.
Yeah. So now they have to upload it, and it has to like be permanently on there for people to just test it from somebody else.
It's embarrassing. Like at this, like it was kind of embarrassing when the game released, but at this point, it's just like I actually feel bad for the people who have to not speak out again. Like people, like the guy, like like the Red Links guys who stream, Blue Badger and whatnot.
Hmm.
I genuinely feel bad for the fact that they can't talk shit about the game when it definitely deserves it. Like they have to fucking
Yeah,
stand
they
there
need to have some
pretend like the
critical
game is like
feedback for sure,
fucking
right? To make it balanced, but like they are, employees of
yeah.
it. I totally understand that they can't like just completely rip the game to shreds all the time.
Like, I
But
feel so bad for them.
they
Like
should
when
definitely have
Blue
some
Badger's
critical
in
feedback.
chat and someone like rips into the game. Like I can only imagine, like like they probably agree with everything everyone's saying, but they can't fucking say anything about it, you know? And it must be so like frustrating for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to jump to too many conclusions about like what's going on in their offices, but maybe
It's not good.
they're
Can't be good.
just eh,
Yeah, but Blub
they're
doesn't work for them
silenced.
anymore.
Blub is critical of
Blub-
it. Yeah, it's good that he is, but he was just a part of the elite, right? And he
Nah, he
wasn't.
worked for Red Links.
Oh, he was working for him. Yeah, no, I'm dumb. Sorry.
But he
He
doesn't
was
work for
working
them
on them.
anymore, so he can talk as much shit as he wants. You'll notice that when he did work for them, he didn't talk shit. But now he can say what he wants.
Coincidence?
No, certainly not. But yeah, that was like, it was annoying, but it wasn't a surprise that they fucked up on like multiplayer as well.
Yeah,
So now
I
basically all
don't
the ninja builders who were waiting for that update.
So
to,
I don't
like,
know
release
where
packs,
you could see the timer. Like the timer thing is just really baffling me still, that in multiplayer there's no timer. However, I did fix the fault thing. You just have to adjust it from the default, which is at like 4,000 or something. If you just reduce it by 1 or increase it, or actually I don't think you can increase it anymore. But if you decrease the fault count, then it'll show up in the corner with your name.
I think at this point it's a fair criticism to ask, like in a serious way, not just like an insult, but to genuinely ask who the fuck is making the decisions for like releases and stuff, because they're all wrong basically. And yeah, Blub, that's fair. I didn't necessarily mean you were talking shit, but I'm just saying like you wouldn't necessarily talk shit when you can't talk shit when you work for them, but
yeah, and under
if you don't work for them,
NDA,
then you
there's definitely some consequences that can occur. So that is reasonable.
I'm
Sure.
glad I'm not part of the elite, because if I'd known how shit the game was before it released, there's no way I would have been able to like hide my disappointment. I would have literally just had to like fucking exile myself from the community.
I don't think the
everyone-
game is that shitty. Like it's not unplayable for me though. I
It's not
still
unplayable,
really enjoy it at least. And I know a lot of people will bash on me for liking it, but I still enjoy it.
Nah, I mean I enjoy playing it. I just know that it's nowhere near as good as it should be and could be.
It has a lot
And
of
that-
potential, but that potential is just not being taken advantage of
all the
entirely.
wrong decisions have been made, basically. Yeah.
We'll see what we can do with the editor. I hope soon, maybe during the summertime. Maybe people will have a lot more time to be able to sit down and make more stuff, and we'll actually.
I wouldn't count on it. I think anyone who's building stuff is building stuff now, and
I know they
think the
already
game is-
have a discount too for the game, so
Oh
maybe
yeah, they had it. It was on sale like weeks ago. on
yeah,
Xbox.
it
And
already
I
had
think
a
it's on
sale.
sale again in the spring sale. It was on sale less than a month after it came out, I believe. I think it's flopped big time, like fucking big time.
Yeah, I was imagining like 1,000,000 players on like the beginner
easily.
leaderboards, and I don't think it's
A million
even close.
for a game like Trials is like on cross-platform leaderboards. It shouldn't even be a question. Like, it should
Do
be
you know
there,
how many people have gotten on to the leaderboards already? Is it
like
like
400K or something?
that's okay? Well, that's better than the last time I think I looked. But still,
Yeah, well, it was. I remember
Yeah.
last time I saw it, it was somewhere in between 300 and 400,000. I'd be surprised if it was much higher than 400,000 if it did manage to pass.
somebody said that before Rising was going to be the last Trials game, and you're kind of worried it is?
That I've said that for a while. I think that it flopped so bad that Ubisoft will fucking shut down Red Links, and we won't get another Trials game.
Well, I hope somebody, maybe some other company, can pick up on this type of physics-based platforming. Man, I really hope this is.
It's guaranteed. You know what I mean?
We have
Fusion's sold well enough that if there's a gap in the market, someone will make a game.
We have so much potential. Like, I always think back to like Super Mario Maker. Like, it could just blow up like one of those types of platformers where there's hundreds of thousands of people building stuff.
But yeah,
all the time.
That's one of the reasons why Trials is sort of regressing in its sort of quality, is because it has no competition. There's no reason to get better. You know what I mean? It is the only game that does what it does.
It's a very niche game.
Like, there's lots of shit versions
of
Trials,
niche.
But it has no. It's not even niche, because
I think it is a pretty niche series, man.
Like over 5 million copies on Fusion. Like, that's no fucking small number, you know?
I guess, no, what I'm talking about, the niche that I'm saying is like the builders and the ninja riders, I guess.
But yeah, but the game in general, like what I'm saying is that if Ubisoft get rid of Red Links and there's no more Trials games, another company will just step in and start producing it. Hopefully. Because it's a free market at that point, you know what I mean? You don't have to try and compete with Fusion or Trials even.
And yeah, Junior, you watched the trial streams for a while. I haven't seen the explosion in viewers like Rising had when it first released, but that's having like other really established streamers. They play like variety streamers. They're gonna hop on to like pretty much every type of I don't know, maybe not every type of platformer, but like Trial series has been around for long enough that the top streamers that are variety will probably know that there's a market for it still to play new games constantly. I definitely had a boost in viewership. It seems to be tapering off just a little.
People like RJ and stuff still like average over 100.
But yeah, like RJ, I could see him getting partnered pretty soon. I know that he got rejected for the first time, but they just want to see the consistent viewership constantly coming forth, basically. I
don't even think it's consistent viewership. I think it's more they want to make sure that the actual streamer is consistent.
Yeah. And I hope that RJ has more of a strict like streaming schedule. I hope soon. Definitely like to see that. But anyways, I think we're gonna conclude this podcast.
That ended into like a fucking hate rise.
Yeah, let's not hate on it too hard. We can definitely criticize it, and I totally get where you're going with it, Cab.
Definitely will criticize it.
Please,
believe me.
Please go to the forums and like keep expressing about like bugs, glitches. You guys got to keep it up. I've been trying to do my part and have this podcast maybe hopefully from Red Links can see this, can view it, and be like, huh, I think they bring some valid points to what we're doing, and I want it to be the best possible. But what's up?
RD said, hopefully UB gives Red Links support. I think Ubisoft is probably the reason that Red Links released the game in an unfinished, like, broken state.
You think it was pretty rushed?
I think I wouldn't rely on Ubisoft.
They had like a couple years to work on it. Right? Was that not long enough?
That doesn't change. That doesn't change the fact that if it's not ready to be released, it shouldn't be. Whereas Ubisoft were probably like, yep, this is the date. Doesn't matter if it's ready or not. And that's not really supportive. That's the opposite of supportive. That's like sabotaging the game.
Yeah, I think to have that really, I don't know, we would have to have like Blue Badger and people that work there, I think, on the podcast. I'd like to have Professor Fat Shady on. I keep trying to message him and see if he can come on.
Like to see Blue Badger or anyone else on the podcast because they couldn't say anything. You know what I mean? It'll be exactly the same as watching one of their streams. Their streams, it's basically just a trial stream. Like, they don't reply to anything related to the game because they can't.
Well, I think they do a pretty good job at communicating, like back and forth.
Yeah. and you could be like, yeah, what's your opinion on Trials Horizon? And then Blue Badger would be like, yeah, it's amazing. And it's like, yeah, but is that your actual opinion?
Just
No,
fluffing
probably not.
it up more
Yeah,
instead of criticizing it and talking about the things that
you're never
could
gonna
be
get
better.
honest answers out of them. Basically, it would be a pointless task.
Well,
But yeah,
it's our job.
Said,
It's definitely more our job in the community that are like really passionate about it to criticize it. I guess
yeah, that's
would be
the
a better
thing.
way to say it.
What Hallucinogen said is very true. At least for me, is the reason I'm so critical is because I like it, and I know that it could be a lot better than it is. Like, there are lots of shit games out there, and I couldn't give a fuck that they're shit. But because Trials is shit, I care a lot more. You know, because I like Trials.
We like Trials. We're gonna end it there. Boom. End of discussion. We still love the game. We're gonna criticize it because we love it. All right. All right.
I can get you a link to the forums pretty quickly, actually, if you want one. Actually, no, you'll have to do it because I can't post.
Anyways, guys, thanks for chilling out with us for the 9th episode of the Trials Talk podcast. I think these were, again, amazing topics. I really appreciate people that supply.
In the chat.
What's up?
Permit me to drop a link in the chat.
Oh yeah. Let me.
I just realized I picked this fucking thing back up again. So I just do it without realizing it at this point.
Let me find. Did you type anything in? Hold on. I can't even find your name. Can you type something in? But yeah, thanks for chilling, you guys. I'm gonna have Cab post the link for the forum so you guys can maybe drop some opinions. Do your part. I don't mean to say it like that.
Do you?
But yeah.
But
seriously, if you enjoy the game and you want it to be better, right? Then add that kind of critical feedback.
Sit on your ass
exactly.
At the end of the day.
Yes. Yes, and that's like one of the things that I like to do this podcast for is I like to bring some of these controversial topics and be able to talk about them, you know, in a somewhat controlled way. But yeah, sometimes it can get out of hand. I just hope that you guys can forgive any sort of blasphemy. Oh, we're gonna get smited down by red links for talking shit about it too much. We still love the game and we just want it to be awesome. But
debatable. Nah, I do. Well, yeah. Let's just say I do love the game.
Peace out, everybody. I'm actually going to take a break for a little bit. That actually went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I think we streamed that for a couple hours. I'm going to go get
your little squirrel outfit.
I'm going to go get some food. We have an episode of Game of Thrones, I think, coming up pretty soon. So I will definitely be on later today after that. Goodbye, everybody. And Cab, thanks for being on here yet again. Thanks for holding down the fort with me, man.
No problem.